One of the reasons that people in general study criminal psychology or forensic psychology is because people don't know how to regulate their emotions, whether the environment that they grew up in was extremely toxic or there was a traumatic event in their life that altered their reality. And I say this in the sense of they just really didn't learn how to cope. Like they're stuck in the cycle of violence. They're whatever is skewing their mentality to be positive and to work through emotion. Working through emotion is one of the biggest things that somebody can do in their life. Now, whether someone doesn't process their emotion doesn't always mean that they're going to be a criminal, but almost all criminals have a lack of being able to process their emotions, if that makes sense. We have an issue on our hands. We have an epidemic. I don't think that's very, shocking to people. But the biggest shift that I have seen in society is as much hate as there is, I'm seeing an abundance of people starting to spread love and start to spread positivity and talking about love. And I know it sounds like, okay, whatever. And I'm telling you, like, there's a change happening, and it's kind of like getting on the bandwagon of if you're not on the train of making yourself better in some way, shape, or form, or growing, having goals, pursuing something, I think people are starting to kind of shame others now. And I want to talk about this in the realm of forensic psychology because going back to what I said, that almost all criminals have some sort of mental health issue or a lack of being able to process whatever emotion it is, probably anger, most of the time shame. That goes for like anybody. This opens up the topic of understanding how criminals do what they do, hence studying criminal psychology or forensic psychology like I am. It's not that there's more sympathy for somebody, because especially in a role that I'm going to play, you're not going to have, I mean, you might, but you can't really have sympathy on the job. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's like an on and off switch. You start to be aware of why somebody did what they did. So for instance, if somebody goes and murders somebody else and rapes them after postmortem, like does things like that you're just like, how do you even wrap your mind around doing that? Once you start unveiling and peeling back the layers of the onion on this person, you can almost always tie something back to their childhood. So say we have the guy and I have his profile. I'm going to look at the crime and everything, but I'm going to want to start looking at his history and see if there's childhood sexual abuse, if there's neglect, if there's something surrounded around the mother or a motherly figure. Because you have to think in a crime like that, especially if it's perpetuated more than once, he obviously has a disdain for women. Now, why post-mortem? Did he do it during? And then like as it was going post-mortem, there's another word for that. I'll put it here because we just learned about it, but it's not stuck in my noggin yet. Was he too ashamed to do it before? So that's why he did it post-mortem? Was it because he felt uncomfortable? Was it because he wanted to even make her more like disgusted with herself? Like just really like ridicule her body? Different feelings are going to lead you different ways. If he was uncomfortable to do it, is he weak in other areas? Was mom an authoritarian? Was dad the one who was not like wearing the pants of the family essentially? And I know I'm saying this in derogatory terms. I would never speak like this as a clinical psychologist. Again, I'm a student, but I'm trying to relay it in a way that somebody in layman terms can understand. Just free flowing thought. But there's nitty gritty rules that you have to stay in bounds for. You can't just like go off on intuition and whatnot. There has to be evidence for things. But you get the gist. Mental health is so important to forensic psychology. And I'm not saying that we're never going to have criminals, because what kind of world would that be? Like, we need a yin and a yang. It's obviously there for a reason. I don't think we're ever going to change it 100%, but we can definitely make numbers change. We can definitely reduce recidivism, and it all starts with processing emotion.